Welcome to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you are ready to find your inner magic, develop great habits, and a rock-steady mindset to feel confident, comfortable, and fit in your body, you are in the right place. I am Kim Barnes Jefferson, and I'll be giving you weekly doses of health, fitness, and life tips sprinkled with humor and real talk. If you're ready to be consistent without the stress of perfection, magic makers, it's time to slip into your favorite pair of PJs, grab some coffee, kick back, and listen to today's show.
And here is this week's iTunes review. It comes to you from Dub by V. She writes, I love the podcast. You speak your mind and you don't sugarcoat anything. I love your energy and your good spirit. Oh, that just fills my heart. You don't even understand how much I enjoy these reviews. So please, if you feel the need, please go to iTunes or wherever you listen to this podcast. Do me a favor and hit me up with a 5-star review. I absolutely love them. They mean the world to me, and I will read it on my podcast. So thank you so much, Dub by V. It does mean the world to me.
Hey, Magic Makers, welcome back to another show. And if you are a woman over 40 who is struggling with weight loss, today's episode is going to be an absolute game changer for you. Before we get started, I just want to apologize. If my audio is just a little wonky, one, you could tell that my cold has decided that it's just going to move in like a unwanted roommate. And two, I am in a different location today, so I don't have my traditional recording equipment, but there's still going to be some great stuff that you are going to learn today. So if you're a woman over 40 struggling with weight loss, this is the absolute game changer episode for you, because let me tell you, like right now, I know that you're saying, my metabolism broken. It's my hormones. I'm not working hard enough, or I'm doing everything right. Why is this not working? I hear it all and I empathize, and I truly, truly understand, because I know firsthand what it's like when you look in the mirror and you're like, well, is this my body? Like, why is it giving me the finger no matter what I do? And here's what most of us have told ourselves, because, you know, we are the poster children for diet culture. We are the poster children for that first generation of dieters, right? And it's like, you just got to eat less. You got to do more working out, right? And so it's like, it's a race to the bottom. At what point can you eat so little, right, that you're pretty much eating rice cakes and Diet Coke? And you're strapping your ass to the treadmill, the Stairmaster, whatever it is that you're strapping your ass to. It's not the answer, because you've done it. And guess what? I don't know about you, but it either made me fatter or hungrier. And that didn't solve the problem. So today, ding dong, today I'm going to hit you with the 5 biggest reasons why you're stuck. And some of them might surprise you, right? Because again, it's not about doing it right. There's so many nuances, especially at this age when it comes to weight loss, that, you know, I want it to be a black and white answer. My job would be so much easier if I said, you know, take 2 of these and call me in the morning. That would make my job so much easier. But unfortunately, there's so many nuances, and especially when women come to me at this point in their life, they've probably dieted a good 20 years. And one of the big things I see is that you're eating too little. Yeah, really, you're eating too little. You know, somewhere along the way, I don't know where it came from. And if you know the answer to this question, holla at your girl. But somewhere someone told us we need to eat 1,200 calories. That was a magic number to lose weight. And I had like a recent client come to me. She's like, oh, I went on the ChatGPT. You know that thing, right? And I typed in, make me a meal plan for 1,200 calories. And I was like, thank God we're on the phone, because my face was like, oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, sweet Jesus. I was like, come on. I have to stop that myth. So basically, that is a number if you were like a 10-year-old girl. We are well past the 10-year-olds. I mean, you look young and youthful. but we are well past 10 years old. We are a grown ass woman. Have a life. We are running a household. We're working, we're lifting, we're keeping humans alive. We need to eat, because I see these women trying to live on 1,200 calories and then wondering, why they're white knuckling it, wondering why when Wednesday comes, they have lost their ever loving mind. And if it's not nailed down, it's going in their ever loving mouth.
Ladies, I see you. You're doing the diet, the endless cardio, the carb cutting, the fasting, praying to the gods, please let this be the plan that finally works. Yet that stubborn belly fat won't budge. What if the problem isn't you, but your approach? Yeah. That's exactly why I created 5 ways to crack the belly fat code. It is a free, private podcast mini course designed for women over 40 who are done guessing and ready for a proven no BS plan that will actually work with your body, not against it. And over the mini course, I'm going to be breaking down why everything you're doing isn't working and why it's not your fault. The number one mindset shift that changes the game for belly fat loss, how to work smarter, not harder. Spoiler alert, it ain't putting more time in the gym and it ain't cutting on your calories. The ultimate belly fat playbook, simple, sustainable, science-backed strategies. Yeah. No gimmicks, no BS, just real practical strategies that you can actually stick to. Sounds like you? Yeah, I got you. Do me a favor, go back into the link in my bio and you'll be able to get instant access to all 5 episodes and binge them. They are no more than 10 minutes each. Or you can listen to them at your own pace. So if you are tired of wasting your time on things that don't work, this is for you. Let's finally crack that belly fat code together. All right, magic makers, you got this.
We are eating too little. Your body has what's called your basal metabolic rate. And that is the bare minimum of calories that you need to survive. Like if you were laying on the couch all day long, Netflixing and chilling, which sounds like an ideal day for myself, you would need a certain amount of calories to blink your eyes, to breathe, to press the yes, I'm still here watching remote control. All right. So that's the bare minimum number that you need. I'm making this number up just because, I don't do math, right? So most women need somewhere between 16 to 3,000 calories. If I'm someone who is like a very sedentary life, I'm about 1,600. If I'm someone who's actively working out, chasing my kids around the house, I'm up near 3,000, right? And that seemed like for some people probably just passed out when I said 3,000 calories. But again, that is just the bare minimum of calories that we need. And one of the big things when you start working with me is that I don't immediately say, here's your diet. I immediately want to understand what you're eating. And I would say 80% of the time, the women who come to me fall into 2 categories. One, they're eating like toddlers. They're eating, 12 to 1,500 calories. And so we need to boost up those calories. 2, they don't know what they're eating. They're eating healthy-ish, but they don't know what they're eating. So the first thing I do with clients, and I know this is painful, is just tell me what you're eating, right? And I don't make it hard. I try not to make it as hard as possible. If you're someone who wants to track every morsel, great. But I need you to track something so that it brings awareness to what you're doing. So for some people, I'm like, just tell me every time you have protein, track that. How many ounces are you eating? Track how many times you have a snack. Track something so it starts to have awareness into what am I doing it? Because tracking your food, it's very like your bank account, right? Say I wanted to go on vacation or buy a house. How do I know? Can I go to the Ritz-Carlton or am I at the Motel 6 if I don't know how much money I have? How do I know if I'm buying $1 million house or I'm buying a $200,000 house if I don't look at my bank account? So that's what your food log is. It's your bank account. What's going on? It also helps me understand where you've been. And most people come to me oh my God, I need some help. I need to lose 20 pounds. I'm like, okay, great. Can I just see what you've been eating? Well, just give me a diet. No, I need to understand what you're eating because I know that meal plans don't serve you. Because if I give you a meal plan, 1, what if you hate the food I gave you? 2, what if you're someone who doesn't cook? 3, what if you're like, oh my God, I'm traveling. I can't follow this meal plan, right? So it just creates boundaries for you. Or if you follow it to a T, what happens when you get sick of that meal plan, right? So I want you to start to think about, how can I get myself, when I work with clients, it's like getting myself to what's called maintenance calories, where I'm not gaining weight and I'm not losing weight. I'm just holding steady. And that's where we start. And once I get you at that maintenance level, then we can start talking about dieting, right? So for right now, if you don't know what you're eating, I want you to sit down and start tracking for like at least 3 days, just to bring some awareness. And like I mentioned, it doesn't have to be every single thing you put in your mouth. How much protein am I eating? How many carbs am I eating? How much good fat am I eating? How many times am I going in the kitchen, right? This is about judgment. It's just awareness. And you might be shocked at how little or how much you might be eating. Again, no judgment, just awareness. The second thing, and I'm going to die on this hill, right? This is a hill I will die on. Sleep impacts everything. And, and I know at this age, sleep can be a little bit of a challenge. I feel that. I totally get that, because I was challenged with sleep as well. But the big thing that I always tell people, before you say, oh my God, I'm just not a good sleeper. One, stop saying that, right? Because if I keep saying I'm not a good sleeper, I'm just going to stop being a good sleeper. Your body's like, okay, we're not good sleepers. But I want us to kind of set ourselves up for success, right? Because this is what I know about sleep. Every system in your body, if it is not getting enough rest, it is going to not be on full power. Think about your cell phone. How many times have you gone to bed, you've used your phone all damn day, and you didn't plug it in? And the next day, you're like, ooh, it's 2:00 and I got about 20% power. Like, that's how your body feels. And sleep is what, resets that whole cycle for you. So, if you aren't eating well and you're getting like 5 hours of sleep, your body is going to go into full rebellion mode. And this is what I know. It cranks up your cravings. Like, your body is literally like, I need energy, so we're going to eat more food. Hormones. If I don't give that full reset cycle, your hormones are like, oof, someone's got to take over here. My energy, I feel like crap, right? And I see it all the time. I have clients who are like, I get up at 4:30 in the morning to work out, or I work at 5 a.m. I'm like, okay, when do you go to bed? Right? Because if I'm not in bed, like 9 o'clock at night, I'm not getting the optimum sleep. And so I know that for many of you, you're like, oh, that's the only time I can work out. But get your ass to bed, right? Get your ass to bed. If that's the only time you can work out, then you have to be diligent about your bedtime. And the big thing here, set a bedtime. Like, you are a 9-year-old. Like, whatever time you have to get up, count 8 hours back and be like, that's when my booty has to be in bed. And create some type of a routine. Like, if you think about like kids, they have a routine. There's tubby time, and then there's a story, and then the stuffed animals have to be arranged in a certain way. Do that for you. My husband calls it my wind down time. And I cherish that. That is like my jam. And it's like, I go upstairs and I like wash my face, I brush my teeth, I have a little like hymn time, I read a book, and then I go to bed. And I know that when I don't have those things in a sequence, I don't get a good night's sleep. So I want you to really start thinking about creating those bedtime rituals. And it doesn't have to be elaborate, right? It could just be, you write in a journal. It could be like you do breath work. Like, you decide what is that's going to start to tell your body like it's time to wind down the plane. Because so many people are like, oh, I just pass out in front of the TV. No, let's start to signal our body that here's the time to go to bed. And then you'll start craving that time, and your body will be like, oh, girl, we don't need to watch one more episode. It's time to go to bed. The third one is just doing too much, right? Good old fashioned burnout. I am well acquainted with this one. I've had pretty much my whole life, I've either had multiple jobs or I've had a more than full-time job. And nowadays, between having a more than full-time job, kids, aging parents, running here and there, your nervous system is just fried. And chronic stress keeps those cortisol levels high, keeps the belly fat around like an uninvited guest. And you're just never like, the best way to describe like your nervous system is always on this high. Like it just never gets a chance to kind of like bring it down. Is like, imagine like someone was ringing my doorbell, right? Someone right now is ringing your doorbell, just keeps 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 ringing. That's freaking annoying. But how I was just get going. That's what your nervous system is when we don't give ourselves that downtime. And I'm going to apologize right now because where I am, they are mowing the lawn. So if you hear anything in the background, it is that. So you keep ringing that doorbell. And so my body never gets a chance to relax. It's always on high alert. And I wear an Oura ring. And one of the things that I've noticed that I didn't think I was stressed, but there are times in my day that my Oura ring will say, Kim, you are stressed. And I'm like, oh, what was I doing at that point? And sometimes it's things that I don't really think are stressing me out. So it's been very like, eye-opening as to like what is actually going on. But I want you to start thinking about like, are you saying to yourself, this is my life? Like, you're stressed out, but you're like, this is just how my life is. And I hear that all the time. Or maybe you're in a situation that, I have clients who are like, oh, my parents just stress me out, but it's just what it is. Or, oh, my spouse, he stresses me out or she stresses me out. And we're always in survival mode. And because we've always done that, we don't think it is a stressor because it's just something that just is a constant, right? Like right now, the buzzing in the background of that lawnmower, it's that constant buzzing in the background. Well, in our 30s, we could kind of really handle that. But now in our 40s, progesterone, which is our stress buffing hormone, isn't around as reliable as we want it to be. So us kind of like staving off the buzzing that we're hearing right now in the background doesn't happen as much or as easily as it used to. So now that stress is really starting to ring that bell, right? It's starting to ring that bell a little bit more. So here's where really we have to kind of start coming up with ways that like help us to manage our stress. And, even if it's just 15 minutes a day, like sit down, breathe, drink coffee by yourself, right? Drink coffee in peace. I tell this story. I've had a client who used to like lock herself in the pantry for like 15 minutes and like had a little timer. And she told her kids like, this is my 15 minutes. I don't care what you do, but give mom the 15 minutes. So literally I want you to sit down today and be like, where can I put 15 minutes of me time in the calendar? And this is what I know. If it doesn't get scheduled, life will fill in that space for you. So just put 15 minutes of me time somewhere in your day. Do it at least once a week, but I'm going to get greedy. I'm going to say, can you do it at least 3 days a week? And then eventually you'll like grow to love it, that you'll be doing it 7 days a week. And it might be more than 15 minutes. And your me time isn't just your time at the gym, right? I want you to have something more than your gym time as your me time. The fourth one is that I see women fall into two camps. You're either over exercising or you're not exercising enough. And, I love me a good sweat session. That's, how I really start my day. It's like I've done something for myself and now I can serve my clients. But I see a lot of people feeling that, working out harder is the way to go. And I'm just going to press pause here because they are coming in and mowing the lawn. So, before we were really interrupted by the lawnmower, I was talking about over-exercising or not exercising enough. So this is what I see, like, right, we go at it, like, all in, like, yeah, I'm crushing it. I'm going to the gym 5, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. And then life. And then you're like, oh, because I can't go to the gym 5, 6 days a week, or because I can't work out for an hour or 2 hours, I just can't work out. And I was guilty. That was always me. Like if I couldn't work out for 90 minutes to 2 hours, why bother? And so I see this big stop, start. And so what happens when I am always like on going, unless my system is like purely like fine tuned, like a race car, it probably doesn't bother me. But at some point, my body instead of burning fat, it's going to get inflamed because the exercise is a stressor on the body. We're pushing it to do things that it might not have the capacity to do. I might not have gotten a good night's sleep last night. So now I'm already running like low on energy, but now I'm pushing myself to be like, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go. And so now I get inflamed, I get stressed. And so that is a big challenge to my body. On the flip side, because I tell myself, oh, my workouts have to be about this amount of time, or work's too busy and I can only, get to the gym one day a week. So why even bother? Right. That's what we see. We see this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so, for years I was like, oh, my clients, you have to go to the gym 5 to 6 days a week. Now I'm like, can we get in 3 solid workouts? And I've shared this before, where I'm all about good, better, best, right? We're just like, what makes a good week? What makes a better week? And what makes the best week? And how can we start to really focus in on consistency, where strength training takes the priority? If it is one of those weeks that I'm like, you're traveling or taking your kids here, there, and everywhere, or parents, like, what's your bare minimum when it comes to strength training? Can I get in daily walks, even if it's 15 minutes? Right? It's just a 15-minute, I do usually around 3:00, I go out for what I call my constitutional. And every day around 3:00, I go outside and I do like a 15-minute lap around my block. And then recovery, at minimum 1 to 2 days, you are recovering. And by recovery, I mean, you're not doing anything. Maybe, you can take that 15-minute walk, but that walk isn't a power walk, right? It is just like, I'm not strolling like a snail, but I'm not like trying to get my heart rate up, right? It's just, we're prioritizing, recovery. And then this last one that I've been doing a deeper dive into, because I know that many of you struggle with this, and this is probably one of the main reasons why you have issues, gut health, right? I know that it's been getting a lot of attention, and I've had several people on talk about different areas of gut health, is that if your digestion is off, weight loss is a struggle. And one of the big things I always talk about to women who start working with me, I'm always about how's your food, right? Are you digesting food? So like, do you feel bloated after you eat something? Are you pooping, right? Do you feel nauseous? Or do you have like, acid reflux? Like, those are the things that are signal that something is off with the digestion. And most of us, we grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and it was the heyday of processed healthy foods. Raise your hand if you ate Snackwell cookies, right? Raise your hand if we went into that low fat, no fat, blah, 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 right? That was all healthy, but it was processed. There was a process to get the fat out of the yogurt, a process to get the fat out of those cookies, a process, right? So that's where we lived. But also, like, it never phased us to take an antibiotic or a Z-Pak when we had the sniffles, right? Birth control pills, Advil, antacids. I mean, I was the queen of Advil and antacids. Like, I popped those like freaking candy. It was Skittles for me. I took them on an empty stomach, and I was like, oh, let's take it on an empty stomach. That wasn't a badge of honor. That was a sign that my body was like, girlfriend, slow your ass down. But I had shit to do, right? Raise your hand if you're like, I have shit to do, so I'm going to just keep going. So all of those things wreaked havoc on our gut for decades, leading to what I talked about earlier: bloating, sluggish digestion, not really, even though I'm eating well, I'm not absorbing it into my body. Inflammation, which looks like body weight, but it's literally like my, the best way to describe inflammation, I want you to think about like a cell, right? So here I'm making it a circle. It's a cell, and imagine like something like an irritant gets in there. Like, oh, this is what a bug bite, right? Have you ever got a mosquito bite? And like, how many times have you actually seen the mosquito bite you? You smack the mosquito and you swat it away, and then a couple of days later, you get the mosquito. You actually get the mosquito bite. That's inflammation. Like, white blood cells go to that spot to say, okay, I don't know what that is, so I'm going to surround it with fluid to keep it from getting in with everything else. That is inflammation in our body. So there are toxins that are floating around in our body that our body's like, well, I don't know what this is. So I'm going to put a fluid around it to protect your body from it, right? And so for many people, like especially if you look squishy, a lot of it is, and fluffy, a lot of it is mostly inflammation and not as much as fat. So one of the big things that I work with women on, especially at this age, is to increase your fiber, because that's going to help us like get rid of toxins, but also your water. That's going to also help us flush out those toxins. So think, water-based fruit, water, veggies, chia, flax seeds are all great for bumping up the fiber. Also, a new favorite of mine are dates. 2 dates, you can easily get your daily fiber. And follow an anti-inflammatory diet. Or Mediterranean diet. So these are whole foods, lean proteins, getting into healthy fats to really help support your digestion. We could also throw in some fermented foods and slowing down when you eat, right? Physically sitting down, turning off a screen, and being present when you eat, right? Versus, how many of us eat at the kitchen counter, guilty. How many of us eat while we're in the car moving around? And I know that's how life is sometimes. And I feel that, but like for the time that life isn't like that and I'm just out of habit doing it, can we like physically park my booty down and sit at a table and just be in the moment having my meal? So just a quick action, some final thoughts and a quick action plan for you. So you need to eat enough, right? Starving always backfires, right? If you're always like holding out, white knuckling, you eventually buckle and it just turns into this freaking watershed moment. You lose your shit. Sleep, right? That is your belly fat loss superpower. Overtraining, right? It's actually as hard as you're working, it's actually helping to keep that weight on. So let's find that yin and that yang between working out and eating, because we want to train smarter, not harder. So we want to lift, we want to walk, we want to get in that recovery, and then fix your gut, right? If I'm not digesting my food, it affects everything, right? It's just like, it's my fuel. It's like, in my car, if I have to put in premium gas, if I put in crap gas, it'll work, but not in the most optimal way. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to screenshot something from this podcast that made sense for you, and feel free to tag me in my Facebook group, Fit Girl Magic. And seriously, I want to hear from you. I want to know, like, what's your one, like, oh yeah, I do this, or your one, like, oh no, I didn't know about that, right? I would love to hear it. And if you are done guessing and ready for a real plan, check out my coaching page, and let's get you feeling strong, energized, and back in control. Like, that's all I got for you today. Go take action, and I will see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you've made it this far, yay. I'm thinking you enjoyed the show. Let's continue the conversation on Instagram. You can find me at Kim Jefferson Coach. In order for me to keep sharing this message, do me a favor and leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss an episode. New episodes are available every Wednesday. The Fit Girl Magic podcast is intended to provide you with tips, tools, and strategies that will help you make better decisions about your health. I really appreciate your feedback and your support. Thank you so much.